Hey class, Ms. Gibbs here. Today we are going to further investigate the Bill of Rights by examining the historical context of the First Amendment's freedom of speech. We will begin by addressing the realm of protections given by the First Amendment in the Constitution and exploring the different types of speech. You will have the chance to test your knowledge by reading 5 scenarios and determining if a citizen's freedom of speech was violated. Now I want to transition to our warm-up activity. Once you're on the Clever portal, I would like you to click Google Classroom. Once the Google Classroom launches, you will be able to click our class. In our class, you will see the tab above where my mouse is hovering called Classwork. In our classwork page, you will see the very first assignment called Freedom of Speech Hypothetical Scenarios. Go ahead and click that. The Google form that we're going to be using for this activity is right here. It is called Can Speech Be Limited? Directions. Carefully read each scenario. With your shoulder partner, decide if the government can limit a person's freedom of speech. If you and your partner disagree, you each have your own form to fill out. We will discuss our reasoning as a class when the timer sounds. Be prepared to move around the classroom. So you guys are going to be reading these 5 scenarios, discussing with your partner, and then clicking the respective boxes, like so. When you're finished, you will click Submit, and then I will automatically get your responses. Freedom of speech was guaranteed by the First Amendment over 200 years ago. It's a right that gets referenced often and is probably one of the most well-known parts of the U.S. Constitution. But the definition of freedom of speech is not as straightforward as it might seem. Why? Because speech doesn't always mean spoken words, and even though speech is protected, it has its limits. When you think about laws against bullying, harassment, or slander, it's clear that having free speech does not mean you can say whatever you want, whenever you want. The responsibility of deciding when speech is protected or allowed by the First Amendment and when it's not often falls to the U.S. Supreme Court. The court's job is to interpret the meaning of the Constitution and how its laws apply to different situations. Let's review what we've learned so far. The First Amendment states that Congress shall make no law abridging freedom of speech. Remember that we learned speech doesn't always mean spoken words, and even though speech is protected, it has its limits. For example, symbolic speech like burning a flag at a protest is protected under the First Amendment, while yelling "fire" in a crowded room could end up getting you into some legal trouble. We also explored a few landmark Supreme Court cases, Tinker v. Des Moines and Hazelwood v. Kohlmeyer. In the first case, the students were allowed to wear armbands to protest the Vietnam War, while the second case, a principal or school district can limit the speech of students if it goes against the code of conduct or views of the school. Next, you will research a modern case that involves the First Amendment freedom of speech. Be prepared to share the background information, case profile, and the verdict in a presentation for your peers. Throughout this lesson, we analyzed the First Amendment to the Constitution, debated scenarios regarding speech limitations, learned about crucial landmark Supreme Court cases, as well as you guys researching your own court cases involving speech. Tomorrow, we will have the amazing opportunity to participate in the National Constitution Center's Constitutional Exchanges program, where we can converse in real time with students around the country on issues that involve free speech.